Hey David. Okay, so I hope you're doing well. For this case, I choose to present it to you on Prezi and also in English in case you need me one day to negotiate with international customers. Okay, so the presentation is simple. I divided it in three parts. The first one is what I understood from your IP strategic axis. The second one is the core of the presentation, where I link the different solutions and services we have to potential customers. And then I just have a word about the IC service pledge, because I think that it's a real leverage for the customer relationships, and this is something we can definitely leverage while we are negotiating before the sale. Okay, so first of all, in a nutshell, I've been watching Béatrice Marcelin video, and I understood that there is three pillars according to her. So the first one about your IP strategy is extending the footprint. So here, I know that we'll have three more point of presence: one in Paris, one in Frankfurt, one in Amsterdam. And also, what I saw is that you're partnering with Equinix, as we do in OBS with Orange Cloud for Business, for example. So this sounds familiar to me. The next two strategic axes, I'm going to give more detail during the presentation. But basically, it's extending the release of the service and adapt our business model. So the core of the presentation. So you will see here that I've been ranking the three different services we have. Content delivery network in the first position, the bandwidth is in the second position, and open transit internet in the third position. Why did I do that? Because I think that OTI and bandwidth are the core assets of international carrier. It's our pillars, but CDN, I see it a bit as a real growth leverage. And I also understood that you have different teams raising up to face our customers' demand. So let's give you more details about that. So for the bandwidth solutions, what I know for sure is that it's the capacity between A and B. So it's the submarine cable. It can be wet, so if it's submarine, so it's the wet capacity versus terrestrial, and it's the backhaul. So to me, it's pretty clear that it works through different backbone network. And here I use the example of Renault because I have a colleague at the city council of my city who is working there, and he told me that when they need in their manufacturer to design specific cars between Paris and China, for example, they need to push heavy applications in order to create those cars. And so here, I understood that we have Ethernet, long distance Ethernet or Ethernet now. So you can pull fiber or copper to give this very specific access. So it's really about broadband. So the second example is Open Transit Internet. It's more addressed to ISP and content providers. So it's basically the access to internet for end users in a specific area. So it can work with TV5 Monde, for example, if in Romania they want to foster their services, they need to plug to specific providers. What I found interesting, even if I want to give more details about security, is the DDoS option. Currently, in the enterprise agency, we sell many DDoS options, and it's also because regulatory frameworks and authorities ask to our customers to prevent themselves against those attacks. So it's interesting to see that DDoS here is within your services, but it's just an option and not embedded in the core of the service. Last example, maybe the most interesting to me, it's the content delivery network. So it's really I see the growth here. I know that we have different teams that they try to face our our customers' needs. So two different examples. First one, it's the service Boost Your Delivery. Imagine you are a media, like MCs. You want to boost the delivery to the audience. And so instead of using submarine cables from A to B and to give this video millions of times through the cables, you can basically replicate your data and store them as close as possible to the end users. And so this helps both customers and enterprises to reduce the latency and the bandwidth cost. So the second example is also really interesting. It's the managed CDN. Here I took the example of Free because if they want, for example, to deploy an OTT offer, so a TV offer, they can basically ask to Orange to manage the whole process. They just have to buy the hardware, and then Orange takes all the process in charge regarding their end users' needs. So CDN to me is really interesting, and it's also linked to the last part of my presentation, the IC service pledge. I think it's really an elevator pitch. I saw the video on your website, and so I think it's a key point to leverage the customers before to sell anything. I know that within Orange, it's really complicated to sell services because customers sometimes they have fear about us, about the heavy weight of Orange, and so it's interesting to provide them on the internet here really accessible, like transparency and the way we work with our customers through our different services. So if we are able to pitch not only the build but also the run and how is it going after the sales, I think it's really interesting as an account manager to try to foster this vision and to put ourselves in the place of the customer and try to understand what they want. And so it's really a way to, I think, create evolutions in this specific business. So this is it for today. I hope this presentation is a bit convincing. If you have other questions, don't hesitate to call me back. And of course, I'm here to dig and to try to to explain it to you. Thank you, David.